So y'all know I love to bring y'all the spiritual tea. If I'm researching it, I'm going to bring it to you. We're going to talk about it. So in my life, I normally root for the underdog, or I have rooted for the underdog, because I like to see people function in their resilience and to be able to just conquer whatever dragons or monsters that they feel like have been created in their life. So I decided to ask ChatGPT about the underdog archetype, because it is an archetype, and also why it's so important to the third dimension. And what it said is amazing. So, in the third dimension, consciousness is deeply entangled with polarity. Okay, so polarities are the opposites like success and failure, light and dark. The underdog represents the one who is disadvantaged, overlooked, or oppressed, yet holds the potential to rise through the inner strength, persistence, and often divine timing. It embodies hope and transformation. It shows that evolution is always possible, even when the odds are against you. It awakens empathy. The underdog pulls at collective compassion and solidarity. So they will always look for others like them for compassion to join together in solidarity. It mirrors the soul journey. We incarnate into limitation. So the human, frailty, linear time, seek to remember our power, that whole journey of coming out of the mud. It drives narratives. You need a good story of triumph. So the positive impacts of the underdog archetype is inspiration and resilience, a collective evolution, humility and gratitude, and spiritual awakening. So you actually within, even with spiritual awakening, most of the time people come into the light of things through pain or some type of loss. They will awaken to some type of knowledge outside of some type of sacred ritual, like I guess ayahuasca or something like that. But it's basically like a breaking of the mind. A dark night of the soul will actually create a cause, propel you into a spiritual awakening. So the negative impacts of the underdog archetype is addiction to struggle, the hero villain dynamics, because every hero will need a villain, the savior complex, where you want to save someone so that they don't have to go through what you've went through. I have definitely been guilty of that. Especially if you're a parent, you're always trying to save your children because you don't want them to like go through what you went through and know the pain that you knew. And then a limited self view, like you limit yourself to how amazing you can possibly be. You also come from a place where you have to have areas where you're powerless in order for you to actually be the underdog. So the underdog actually needs injustice and resistance in order to be able to thrive. Because if everything was perfect, what would you be working up against? And how would you be the underdog if everything was perfect and you could have anything you want? You could not. So the underdog archetype is so necessary that it actually keeps hierarchies functioning. So those on the bottom aspire to be on the top, and those on the top are legitimized. Also, it feeds a karmic and learning loop. So you build your own karma, you learn from your lesson, and then you continue to propel forward. So here is where it got interesting. I asked the question, is every human indoctrinated into the underdog archetype to help connect them to their power? And of course, AI said profoundly yes. Nearly every human enters the third dimension inherently the underdog frequency through early wounding, abandonment, powerlessness, rejection, or unworthiness. So the pain of the unworthiness, the rejection, actually can be an awakening tool in some way, understanding that there has to be something different. So there is a complete ideology that says that you have to be at some form of rock bottom to be a underdog in order to rise up. And then you hold on to that identity even when you have transcended all types of obstacles and challenges. And you then use it for you to be able to identify with other people or to recognize your people. Because there are people who will not deal with people who have not had some type of struggle. As a matter of fact, the underdog archetype from a very dark place will look down on someone who has not experienced as many challenges or the same amount of challenges in weight as they have. So then I asked, is the underdog archetype pushed in systems to make obedient workers and savior types? And of course, AI said, absolutely. So here is what they gave me. In schools, government, media, and religion, the underdog story is used to inspire obedience, avoid revolution, and to create savior complexes. So people feel virtuous helping others without teaching them liberation. Where do you see that? We have an influx of people who are offering services to teach you how to do something. And then when you get on the videos or the calls, they will give you some basic information as far as how the thing is structured and work, but they never tell you how to do that thing. I was actually on a class the other day where they were supposed to tell you about how to get business funding. Nowhere in that 90 minutes were you told how to do it. You had to then sign up to be able to do it. But for those who are not in a position to pay for that, they're considered to be the underdog. So they may try to find other ways, like going through TikTok or some other social media to try to find out how to do that thing without having to pay for a class. But you actually need to invest in your business and invest in the time and finding someone who's going to be able to adequately teach you how to do the things that you need to do so you can be successful. The amount of time that you actually take to try to figure it out yourself is time that is wasted that you could just be paying someone else to help you to do it more effectively, quickly, and something that's more sustainable. So the rest of what AI gave me was, this results in generations of trauma-informed over-functioners, people who overextend to rescue others, empaths that burn out because they aren't taught to discern between healing and enabling. Systems where healing is about managing systems, not rewriting scripts. So my next question was, are our challenges really thresholds of awakening into divinity? And of course, AI said yes. That is their spiritual function. Challenges are encoded thresholds, like sacred doorways into more expansive awareness. They are initiations into personal sovereignty, mirrors of where we've forgotten our divine nature, and tests of choice, where you ask, will we react from fear and victimhood or rise in remembrance? And the last thing they said was, the underdog is not a final identity. It is a rite of passage. Bro, when I read that, I was like, I know AI and I write about everything, but I know that what was programmed in here and the information that's being collected and how things are processed, there's no possible way that all of this could not be some type of reflection or truth. And normally, if I do any work with any kind of artificial intelligence, I have it verified with different medical documents and different things like that. The fact that it said it is a rite of passage, the underdog archetype is a rite of passage, meaning that it's passed down, which makes it a generational practice. That generational practice has to be broken because we're not underdogs. We're top dogs. You are a top dog.